Good morning, guys. It's Kevin back in the woods to do a little bit more chopping with the Arvika 5-star. But what I really want to do is address some questions I got in the comments from the previous video. So let's do that right now. So let's kick this conversation off with handle length. A few of you wondered out loud whether or not this handle is too short for this particular head. Now, the theory seems to be the heavier the head, the longer the handle should be. I don't think that the head weight needs to dictate handle length at all, though I tend to think the inverse is true. The heavier the head, the shorter the handle I prefer to some length in order to control the head weight. What I mean by that is 4.5 pound head is pretty heavy for me, so putting it on a 26.5, 27 inch handle makes this a much more wieldy axe for me. Last week, I didn't even really notice the head weight because I had so much control with this short handle. The folks who say that, I tend to think haven't really experimented with shorter handles. So let me tell you the story of how I came to prefer shorter handles and why. If you take nothing else away from this discussion, in fact from the channel, I hope it's the encouragement to experiment. There are other means of knowing something, but I know by experiment no other more convincing way of knowing something for certain than experiencing it for yourself, than observing it for yourself firsthand. That's what I would encourage you to do in all walks of life. And if you haven't experimented with shorter handles, I encourage you to do so. And I have got some feedback on other videos from some of you who doubted me when I said short handles were better than long handles. Then you used them and then you found for yourself that that seems to be the case. Now, if you really want to know something, of course, you're going to have to repeat that experiment or reproduce that experience. One time does not make it a tautology, as it were. So mixed in among the wild daisies are bird's foot, a bird's foot trefoil. I know them as bird's foot. I wish I could get some of them to mix in with the daisies. They're like a vine and they just won't hold up. It was my wife's birthday 2 days ago, so I'm gonna bring her some daisies home. Not too shabby, eh? I think she'll be happy with that. Check out the camouflage of these two bugs. I don't know what they are. They're on this California thistle here, which I'm not gonna touch. But they look like dried leaves. They're not. Balance. If this is a true test of what an axe should be like as far as balance, then this is a really good balanced axe. This axe, the Arvika 5-star, on this handle anyway, is shit. But I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what this is supposed to prove or mean when it comes to chopping. So I'll admit I'm being a little bit facetious. Balance does have something to do with the way an axe is made. I just don't think outside of felling it has that much relevance to your chopping. So if heavy heads needed to be on a longer handle in order to be balanced out, why are timber sports guys using super heavy heads on relatively short handles? And yet their chopping is among the best in the world. And this brings me to the next question, the kind of ultimate question for this particular axe build, and that is the bit handle alignment. As you saw in the previous video, I hope, this axe was terribly hung due to a warped eye. There was another question of why didn't I try to correct the eye by steaming it? I did. It didn't work. I'm not saying it couldn't work. It didn't work in this particular experiment. Now, I think that you can chop just fine with an axe that is slightly, even badly malaligned with the handle, because I think your chopping accuracy has a lot less to do with the tool and a lot more to do with hand-eye coordination. Let me explain. So when I first started playing hockey around 6 or 7 years old, the coaches would tell you that where you point your stick when you end your follow through is where the puck would go. But very quickly you learn that that's not really true, that it's a much more intuitive process. It has a lot more to do with hand-eye coordination than it does your stick being aligned with the place you want the puck to go. I see that being no different than with the axe. It's a much more intuitive process going on in your head. When you first strike, there's a lot of preconscious and subconscious processes, programs running, if you will, in order to make the next swing contact where you want it to. Now, this is a matter of muscle memory, of course, and I am often amazed at how badly people can miss with an axe, but I often forget that I had the luxury of an athletic upbringing. All right, and finally, before I start doing some chopping, I want to address the grind. So Owen Jarvis suggested that I take this back some more to about 18 degrees. I originally thought it was at 18 degrees, but that was only true of the heel and the toe. When I checked back at the shop, it was more of a 20-degree grind in the center. So I took this back about another 2 degrees, almost pretty much filing right on the eye, and I put the tiniest of micro bevels on it, just with the stone. So we'll see how the steel holds up. I'm sure it will hold up fine. It's meant to hold up to Aussie hardwoods, and I'm chopping some really dense maple, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. And it probably will bite a lot deeper. No, it will bite a lot deeper and hopefully pop those chips better. So less talking, more chopping. Let's get at it. Let's see if that chip still doesn't want to go. There it goes. Better. So as of now, I have a total of 5 hits on this notch, 2 on this side and 3 on this side. And this is what I've been experiencing with this axe. It bites deep and it starts to pop the chips. You can see there's essentially 3 chips starting here. This one, and it's starting to bust this out already, but it never really pops them out. I have to pry them out. I'm not purposely trying to poo-poo on this axe. I don't do that, guys. I enjoy this axe so far, and I've barely used it, so give me a break. I'm just calling it like I see it, okay? Accuracy's not been a problem so far. Just getting those chips out has been. Well, there was 2 knots, so let's give it a little bit more of a chance. And please give me a bit more of a chance. I'm not purposely shitting on this axe, I promise you. And your experience might be different. That's okay. So it's starting to rain a little bit. I gotta get the tarp up. Okay, so now that I got it up, it stopped raining, of course, but this is what I came up with in a hurry. I did find some anchor points on either side, though I did a little bit different configuration than I normally do because I was hoping to be able to chop down here, or at least out in front. The one janky anchor point that I came up with is this. There is really nothing holding this except the tension of the line. In a windstorm, it might not be your best option, but it'll hold for now. I at least want to be able to do some splitting out in front here. I did put a hole in this, putting this up. My Arvika was sticking out of the log. The toe of it caught this and ripped it. So I have to patch that now. All right, I want to get this bucked up, but I got to be careful now because I got this line right in my way. I think I'm going to move the log a little bit, probably buck it into 2 sections, then I'll get this bucked up and we'll do some splitting. A little bit sticky. No problem with accuracy now that I got used to the axe. Still the same problem with the chips though. Missed there at 1/4 of an inch. I missed there about 1/4 of an inch. I tend to miss on my left side with this axe, and it actually makes some sense because the bottom of the bit is kicked this way, so the bottom of the bit's kicked that way. You can see how the toe of my axe is almost on a line, but the heel missed by about 1/4 of an inch. So it does throw off your accuracy slightly some of the times. All right, before it starts pouring down on me, what do I like about this axe thus far? Well, not for nothing, this is a friggin' gorgeous axe. Even as a user, I can appreciate a pretty axe, and this is a pretty axe. The other thing I really enjoy about this axe is the wide bit or edge length. Looks like 5.5 inches. I really only have to stack the cut twice, and then I can move to the other side, and that's enjoyable. I'll admit that, even as a lover of light, small axes. The other thing I enjoy about this axe is that it's a 4.5 pound head, so it carries a lot of punch behind it, but it doesn't feel that heavy, largely because of the short handle, but also because it's dispersed across that wide bit edge. I enjoy those two things. That's about it. I don't enjoy pulling it out of the cut each time because it sticks. I don't enjoy it not busting the chips out because it's too long and narrow. I suspect this will be a great limmer and a great feller, but it's a little bit heavy for that, to be honest. I imagine I will pick this axe up though when I'm bucking larger wood just to get that penetration. 8th grade me. 8th grade me. But I also want to try this to limb larger branches to see how I like it with this shorter handle. I imagine it's going to be a shit splitter just because it has that long edge length. Some of you, or at least one of you, told me this is a great splitter, and I think you meant splitting on a block. I imagine that's the case. Pretty much anything with enough weight behind it and a block underneath of it when it's backed up will split just fine. That said, even though this will split on a block when splitting chainsaw rounds, it's not a good splitting axe. I don't know why you would use this over something that was much more convex. This has a large flat surface. It is slightly convex, but mostly flat from here to here, which means it's gonna be pretty sticky. You could see that just when I was chopping that it's sticky. So you're much better off with the shorter, fatter bit when splitting chainsaw rounds. Although this will do the job, I'm not saying it won't, it's just not the axe for the job. Though I would be extremely surprised to find out that this would split well on axe cut wood. Well, I'll be. Color me surprised. Maybe it isn't such a bad splitter. Let's see what I can do with this pile.